All right, and we're back for another episode of the Lakers Fast Break podcast. It's Gerald Glassford coming right back at you here. And all those watching us on Facebook Live, we truly appreciate you doing so. And on YouTube on the Lakers Fast Break channel, we cannot thank you enough for watching all the stuff that we do, whether it's here on the Lakers Fast Break, Pop Culture Cosmos, Game Source, or Inside Sports Fantasy Football. We cannot thank you enough for doing so. And if you can, give us that 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. Also, as well, if you like us, go ahead, please like, share, subscribe, follow. Anything you can do to help us out here at the Lakers Fast Break. We truly appreciate it. We're so excited. The scrimmages are taking place as we speak. The Lakers is around the corner as we record this, and we're just so excited that sports is coming back to us. Baseball is getting started, looking so great out there as far as sports is concerned. And here today to talk about sports coming back and her excitement for it, plus a great charity that you need to go ahead and find out more about because it is basically something for one of the terrible diseases and syndromes that are out there, and that is Parkinson's syndrome. And if you get a chance, you want to know more about it and how to fight it and what you can do to help, please go ahead and check out teamgatewaytoacure.org because she has set up a foundation or helped set up a foundation that's been a great force behind trying to go ahead and find a cure for Parkinson's syndrome, and that are working, just hand in hand with Michael J. Fox's foundation and the Muhammad Ali Parkinson Center. You're seeing it now on Facebook Live. It is, like I said, right there. Team Fox for Parkinson's research, right there, working with that as well. It is Jennifer Cobb. And Jennifer, I want to thank you so much for joining us today. Just really appreciate it.
Thanks so much for having me, Gerald. And I just got to say, let's get ready to rumble.
Absolutely.
I'm so excited about football. Now,
that's coming right around the corner.
I did hear that they were cutting some of the preseason games. Is that still legit? Is that still on?
That is still, preseason games they've been pretty much nixed at this point in time. I think that's a good thing. So you just go ahead and people just want to get right to the games and the possibility, of, especially because NFL teams are so much larger than other sports teams, the risk of contracting the coronavirus or it spreading amongst all these NFL teams or even one NFL team is much higher. So I think that you just need to go ahead, get to the season as fast as you can and get done with it as fast as you can because you never know what to expect with this coronavirus.
Yeah, and it's so unfortunate, but if we could just have a little taste of football and get some of the adrenaline going in all of the football enthusiasts out there, then, I think we're going to be, it's going to be okay.
Well, you have a background with the NFL. And,
I do. So my platform's coming off the NFL field as an alumni NFL Super Bowl cheerleader with the Rams. When Georgia Frontieri brought the LA Rams to St. Louis. So I was on the team inaugural season all the way to Super Bowl. I was part of the greatest team on turf with Marshall Faulk and Kurt Warner and Isaac Bruce. Hall of Fame this year, 2020.
There you go.
For Canton, Ohio. That's the whisper behind the scene is it's still going to take place, but who knows? Things change.
Yes.
But, and so, I had done quite a bit of fundraising for Michael J. Fox. My father was diagnosed with Parkinson's right around the same time when Michael went public in 1999 with the disease. And as a daughter, an adult child, just loving on my dad, I knew there had to be a way to bring Michael's resources to the forefront, to the city of St. Louis, and really raise awareness. There's over 1 million people diagnosed with Parkinson's worldwide every year. And so I wanted to learn more about it, but more importantly, I wanted to be a really good caregiver. I wanted to be a cheerleader behind the scenes, how I can give my dad more hope and comfort while he goes through the disease. And so with my platform and my voice as an NFL alumni cheerleader, I thought, you know what, good for me. I'm going to use that. And I started the foundation, collaborated efforts with Michael J. Fox, and who raises a lot of money for research, which is great. But then there's another side, Gerald. The other side of the disease is the caregiver support. And that's where the champ comes in. I had the joy of meeting Lonnie Ali, his widow, and she was so sweet to give me a tour of the Muhammad Ali Parkinson Center out in Scottsdale, Arizona. And
Mhm.
it's connected to the Burroughs Neurological Institute. And one of the things that Muhammad's legacy is focused on is caregiver support. The coaches, the cheerleaders, the ones that are behind the scenes, making sure their foreheads are kissed, their bellies are full of food, they go to and from their doctor appointments, making sure their medicine is strategically planned with their food so their tummies don't get upset, and comforting them in the middle of the night with night terrors, and when they have freezing moments, how to adapt to that. And so it's a job, and it's a job that the caregiver has a lot of anxiety and depression, and they're overwhelmed, especially if they're a low income senior and they're caring for their loved one, or an
Mhm.
adult child who I'm
Yeah.
caring for my children, also caring for my father. And
Yeah.
so there's this huge demand for support. And so now the insurance companies are recognizing the caregivers as the second patient. And so they're putting different support groups in hospitals, and different YMCAs are now starting to have support groups for the caregivers, because they also go through what you and I and everyone out there had a little taste during quarantine. That's their life
Yeah.
every day. The doors aren't knocking, the bells aren't ringing, and the phone's not jingling. So who comes and checks on them? It's very sad and lonely. And so they have to have support so they can be the best version of them to support the one going through the disease.
And you talked about meeting the widow of Muhammad Ali and the fact that she was a caregiver for so long. The same
Yes.
thing with Michael J. Fox when he became the face of Parkinson's when he announced it in 1999. His wife, Tracy, I think is the name, is her first name,
Yep.
who was a former actress herself. She became that caregiver for him in many ways, and that's something that's not talked about enough. And like you said, your foundation helps recognize that. And like you said, insurance companies now take notice of this, and that's a great cause.
Thank you. And, I think raising the awareness and educating the caregivers on how they can be the best support. Many times I get asked when I speak at caregiver conferences is, Jen, how can I let go of the emotional past? So, for instance, why should I take care of my dad? He never showed up for any of my football games and none of my practices. And now he's sick and he wants me to stop what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to build a company. I've got kids I got to take care of. And now he wants me to stop my life to take care of him. And so, how do you let go of the emotional history and trauma bond with others that are going through it and really meet the person where they're at? The
That's
person that
yeah.
is dealing with Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, concussion, ALS, stroke, MS, whatever the brain disease is, they're not the same person, Gerald, that they were 20, 30 years ago.
And you talked about this. I mean, you're dealing with brain injuries, and obviously Parkinson's one of them. But you come from an industry in the NFL that is now in this century, and I'm talking from the year 2000 on, that is more aware than ever about head trauma and the long-lasting effects from that, and how it needs to be treated going forward.
Yeah, and I think it's really important that the caregiver recognizes the different changes in the brain, and how to help give them hope and comfort instead of turning the other way and not being the support that that person needs.
Yeah.
Because many times you are selfish. You have selfish tendencies. We're all human. And you get exhausted because you have so many other accolades and things that you're trying to do in your life. And so, how do you take that selfishness and put it on a shelf and support that person 100%? And so, on the foundation's website, teamgatewaytoacure.org, you can go on and get all kinds of different ideas. Gerald, there are a million ways to be a good caregiver, just like there's a million ways to be a good mom, a million ways to be a good dad. does people really, really not know how to be a good caregiver? It doesn't, it's not complicated. It's very simple. If you live far away, we have the technology now. Look at you and I.
Of course.
Even if it's for a couple of minutes, send it email, a text, maybe a video. If you don't want to talk to the person, I'm thinking of you. Let me know if there's anything you can do. If you can't send a meal, you can't make a meal and drop it off, there's Uber Eats. You can order a meal for $5, $6, $7 and have it delivered. I mean, there's, like I said, there's just a million ways. And I think it really speaks volumes to the person who lets go of the emotional history and meets the person where they're at, and to love them and just give them hope and comfort.
Well, I'll tell you what, I mean, I'm showing it now to everybody on Facebook Live. And again, if you really want to go ahead and find out more and hopefully become a volunteer or donate or support in any way, shape, or form, please go ahead to teamgatewaytoacure.org. You just be glad you did, because it really, in the fight to help go ahead and try and see if we can find a cure for Parkinson's disease. It really will just, anything you can do to support it. It looks like it's a great cause. And Jennifer, you're obviously helping lead this charge against Parkinson's disease. And I cannot thank you enough for stopping by and taking the time to do so. But before we head on out, I know you do such great work with there. Please just once again tell people how they can go ahead and get a hold of everything and what you're doing at Team Gateway to a Cure.
Yeah, so I'm on Facebook, LinkedIn. I'm also on Instagram, and teamgatewaytoacure.org. Jennifer Cobb. Reach out to me. I answer all my emails. I'm also part of co-producing a documentary movie. There's a trailer you can watch about that, and also in the early stages of starting a book, Parkinson's and Daughters. It's the story of caregivers, of different high-profile public figures, about the stories as they see through their eyes as a caregiver. And so as we continue to share our stories, I think that the most important thing that I want to get across is to share my story so that it would impact others to do the same, and to give hope and comfort back to their loved ones.
Oh, that's nice. That's awesome. Again, whatever you can do to support, please help them out today. Teamgatewaytoacure.org. But before we go ahead and head on out, Jennifer, I want to ask you, I mean, again, aren't you excited for sports? You said the NFL, it's coming right around the corner. What are you basically, are you excited about this fact that, you will be having football in some shape or form?
Oh, I am so delighted. I cannot even stand it. Football is so much fun to watch. And, every year in October, they bring us back the alumni cheerleaders on the field for Cheer for a Cure. And it's the same game where you see all the players in their pink socks and shoes and pink gloves, and we're in our pink uniforms and cheering for a cure. I don't know if you're aware of this, Gerald, but the passing of Georgia Frontieri of breast cancer was the reason for the start of Cheer for the Cure, which is great. So it's raising awareness for breast cancer. And the NFL has just done a remarkable job of raising so much money and awareness for all of the cancer survivors and people that are battling with this terrible disease. But again, on the other side, there's a caregiver that is battling either cancer or has gone through it or has caring for somebody that is going through it. So caregiver doesn't just recognize caring for Parkinson's. Caregiver comes in many different roles. And I think it's really important that we all come together and support each other.
Absolutely. And like you've said before, the NFL has done a great job of supporting breast cancer awareness. Like I said, the pink uniforms, and we've seen this with other sports as well, but the NFL has really taken a forefront when it comes to fighting, or at least making people aware of the fight against breast cancer.
Yeah, they have done such a wonderful job and really heightened the awareness. But they've also have been nothing but supportive with my foundation that I founded 4 years ago, Team Gateway to a Cure. And my foundation would not be where it's at today if it wasn't for the support from the NFL, the players, alumni, cheerleaders, and just everyone that has helped Team Gateway to a Cure get to where it's at today.
I'll tell you what, I'm just so thankful that you're going ahead and doing such great work with Team Gateway to a Cure. I mean, for someone out there who knows people directly in the past that have been affected adversely by Parkinson syndrome, it's just, you really just, I'm just so grateful that you're out there, you're fighting the good fight, you're helping those as far as, well, not only just the individuals themselves that are adversely affected by Parkinson's disease, but again, the caregivers, which are so important to this cause as well.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much for having me on.
Well, I truly appreciate you being on. Thank you so much for being part of the show. And again, where can they go if they need any more information on Team Gateway and all the stuff all the great stuff that you do?
Yeah, Team Gateway. Oh, teamgatewaytoacure.org.
Well, there you go. There you go.
Facebook and LinkedIn.
Sounds good. Sounds good indeed. Once again, it's Jennifer Cobb from Team Gateway. Please be a part of the great organization by either volunteering, donating, or any type of support you can give at teamgatewaytoacure.org.
Thanks, Gerald.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. I'm going to stay on the line because I know I've got Fago coming here in a sec. But again, it's just been a pleasure talking to you, and I hope to speak to you soon.
Thanks again. Bye-bye.
Bye. All the best. Well, again, this is Gerald Glasser from the Lakers Fast Break. Once again, that was Jennifer Cobb from Team Gateway. That is teamgatewaytoacure.org. I'm currently staying on the line, staying on this hot video, this live video, so to speak, because I've got Fago White Franklin III from 1340 AM Hopewell, Fox Sports. This is hopefully coming on here to talk a little bit about the NBA season restarting. I'm hopeful that I will go ahead later on tonight, as we're seeing this live on Facebook Live, that we're going to go ahead and hopefully get some thoughts on the Lakers game. I'm going to try and see if I can bring either Laker Tom from Lakerholics.com or maybe Rafael Barlow, maybe reach out to him, but I know he's really busy. But I will see if I can go ahead and get somebody out here to talk about the game. If you go ahead and watch, it's going to be on NBA TV and also Spectrum Sportsnet, so hopefully you get a chance to watch that. But yes, I'm very excited about what's going on in regards to the NBA. Major League Baseball, it has started up as well. So obviously sports is gearing up and coming back in full force, or at least in some type of force that we can go ahead during this pandemic. So I'm looking forward to that. But yes, I want to go ahead and thank everybody out there for watching. This is the Lakers Fast Break. If you have any questions for us at all, at any point in time, it's at Lakers Fast Break on Twitter, LakersFastBreak@yahoo.com. Also as well, Lakers Fast Break, pretty much anywhere you go on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere you get your podcasts. And check us out as well. I want to give a big shout out to the RTF Sports Network. I want to give them a big shout out. You can find us there each week. And also as well, Troy Brewer and the Discover Community Network. I want to give him a big shout out. He not only plays our stuff at the Lakers Fast Break, but also the great shows that we do at Pop Culture Cosmos and the PCC Multiverse. Looking forward to go ahead and having more shows on the Discover Community Network and also as well the RTF Sports Network. So hopefully you get a chance to check us out there. But yes, we're going to go ahead and check out the game here in a little bit as we're as we're recording live. But yes, looking forward to the game tonight. Looking forward to seeing what type of rotations Frank Vogel will use, because we're not going to see a full 40-minute deal from LeBron and AD. We're not going to go ahead and see that. I just want to see what they have to play in their limited amount of minutes that they have, plus also seeing how the other players on the roster are going to be utilized as far as giving them some time, giving them some minutes. Alex Caruso, Dion Waiters, J.R. Smith. Interested to see how they'll be utilized in today's game. Looking forward to it. Again, it's a scrimmage today being played. We're going to go ahead and check out the game, and then hopefully later on tonight, I will go ahead and get a confirmation that we can go ahead on the air on the Facebook Live right here at Lakers Fast Break on Facebook and many other outlets as well. Share our thoughts on the Lakers' initial scrimmage, kind of get back into it. We're seeing some NBA scrimmages right now. Kind of got real enthused yesterday by watching Bol really dominate and playing well out there for the Denver Nuggets. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to get any time, real time, when it comes back to going into the regular season and the playoffs. when Denver gets fully healthy. I know they were playing with one of the largest lineups, if not the largest lineup ever showcased in NBA history in yesterday's game, due to the fact that they only had 8 players right now, I think, playing, and I think only one of them was Troy Daniels as a guard, so they had no guards. So it was very interesting to see how that played out. But yes, some interesting action. People got to be patient, though. The games are going to look a little bit ugly, a little bit ragged. These players are getting back up to speed as far as the NBA quality of play. So it's not going to be as pretty and as aesthetic, I think, as a lot of people are used to. So we need to be patient. The actual floor and showcase are there. And I think Jonathan Big Baby Soulful said it best, that it definitely looks like it has that Euro League type of feel. But I'm just welcome for basketball to be back. I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited. I'm just thankful that I'm going to go ahead and have this next guest on right now. It is Fago. I'll tell you what, Fago White Franklin III from Fox Sports 1340 AM Hopewell. Just so great to have you back on, my friend. I got a chance to be on your show and was honored to be a part of that. And I'm so thankful that you can return the favor by coming on here today.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. And also the name is Fago. I know it's like a mispronunciation. Yeah, it's all good.
Oh, sorry, Fago. My bad. Again, it's Fago White Franklin III from 1340 AM Hopewell. Please check out all the great work that he does there, and also social media as well. But before we get into all the great stuff that you're doing, are you excited that sports is coming back? I mean, I saw on your social media you had great shots of Major League Baseball getting back up and running today. You got the NBA right around the corner, NHL. Isn't it so nice to have at least some type of diversion from all the stuff that's going on now, on out there with the pandemic?
Oh, yes, definitely. It's some type of normalcy for me. However, everything is moving virtually now these days. So it's a little bit hectic as far as being a journalist or reporter. And you're trying to make sure everybody has the right signal and everybody's one accord. So that's something that is definitely different. But nevertheless, I'm pretty excited that we have some type of sports. I'm waiting to see what the Washington Nationals will do in the MLB out there. Then, of course, you got the Lakers. I'm a huge Lakers fan. Then hopefully there's some type of normalcy within the NFL, but we don't know anything just yet. So right now, I'm just looking forward to, WNBA as well as the NBA.
Jennifer was really excited for the NFL coming back. She couldn't, hold her enthusiasm back. And it was great to see that she's looking forward to the NFL, as all of us are. And when it comes to sports in general with Major League Baseball, I mean, for me, as a former LA guy, being in LA for so many years, the Dodgers and the Angels, they're both looking pretty good. I know somebody was predicting the Angels to win the division, but I'm not sure. I've never sold on their starting pitching yet, so I have to wait and see how that develops, because usually they break down by game 10. That's what I'm used to anyways. But the Dodgers are still looking like the powerhouse that they are, even though Clayton Kershaw just went on the injured list. But it's still great to have the baseball around there. But for the Lakers and the NBA, it's right around the corner, my friend. And as we're talking, the Lakers are just about ready to gear up for a scrimmage. So I want to hear your thoughts. How far do you think this Laker teams can go in the Western Conference and the NBA Finals overall?
Man, that's kind of hard, because I personally feel, as we talked before previously on my show, that I feel like they're going to get shocked. If it's somebody like, hypothetically speaking, if the Pelicans could get in that 8th seed, I think they could definitely push the Lakers' buttons, as well as the Houston Rockets. The Houston Rockets, as far as them playing small ball, if they can somehow get together coordinated, I think they would definitely shock a lot of people. They would definitely put their bigs into foul trouble. And then you also have to look at the Lakers bench. They're fairly young, so you have to take in consideration of how young their bench is. They don't really have too many veterans on their bench, so that'll be something interesting to see as well. So I think that the Lakers will possibly make it to the second round, but I personally feel like they might get shocked down the road.
And you're not the only one that has said that out there. I think a lot of people say that in this type of environment where the home team and the road team is pretty much out the window. I'm sorry, I'm not going to, as far as people showing off the virtual crowds that are there and the Laker girls, virtual Laker girls and all that. It's still not quite the same thing. This is an unusual environment that they're in. There is no home court advantage. There is no road court disadvantage, really, when it comes down to it. Everybody's playing on this even court type of field. And I think that anything, like you said, can happen. And we are going to see some upsets. I'm hoping it's not the Lakers, but I agree with you. I think we are going to see some upsets coming in the NBA playoffs.
I definitely agree, and the same thing goes with the East. I don't feel like the Bucks is going to go all the way to the finals themselves. I personally feel like they might get shocked down the road. I personally have Boston. I like that young Boston team out there. Even though I'm a diehard Lakers fan, you got to give it up to Kemba Walker and what he's doing out there. You know, his first year within the Boston organization. But nonetheless, I like, Jaylen Brown. Nice guy. He's coming into his own, as well as some of the other guys on the Boston. Then you also have to look at the Raptors. The Raptors are doing pretty good out there as well too. You know, without what's his dang on name? I can't think of his name.
Well, with Jason Tatum and Boston wreaking havoc, I think he's a key. Kemba, it's just his knees. His right knee he's had issues with. If he can stay healthy, Boston will make an impression in these, but again, a lot rides on Kemba Walker's right knee.
Yes. And then you have to look at the Raptors. Like Siakam is out. Yeah, I like Siakam. I like Van Vliet out there. They're, I think, second or third seed, somewhere around that in the East. Yeah. And then you also have to look at Miami, with Jimmy Butler out there. They're doing pretty well too. So out in the East, I think the Bucks is going to definitely get upsetted, or either it's going to be a lot of different competition. I think the Bucks is going to actually have to go to a Game 7 with some of these teams.
I tell you what, it's going to be very interesting to see. But I want to hear your thoughts, Fago, before we head on out. And that is your ultimate NBA Finals matchup and who will come out on top.
Oh, man, that's kind of hard. I'm going to have to go with the Clippers and Boston. Clippers are very deep in their bench. And then I like Boston too. I like them playing their small ball. That when they have chemistry together, they're definitely a lethal threat out on the floor. Jaylen Brown, of course, coming into his own. Jason Tatum, I love that guy. That guy's becoming into a superstar. But I think Boston, and I had to say this because I'm a diehard Lakers fan, I think Boston is going to actually get another ring this year.
I hope not, because then that just makes it harder to catch up. It'll be 18-16. I don't like those numbers, my friend. I want 17-17, but I cannot say I blame you because in this environment, it's anything goes. We're seeing right now already in some of the scrimmages. So funny when you have a 7'2" two guard for Denver, a 7-foot point guard for Denver, and you have one of the largest lineups ever, and just because there's not enough people there for Denver to go ahead and have their full team. And because of the coronavirus, people are still out. People are still not even there in Orlando. And all the variables that you're seeing, there's still a lot up in the air right now when it comes to what's going to take place in the NBA season. So I can't say I blame you as far as going ahead and thinking in a different fashion as far as Boston is concerned. And like I said, to me, if Boston's going to succeed, it all has to be about Jason Tatum taking it to the next level consistently like he has just before the coronavirus hit and that season got delayed. And also Kemba Walker, he has to be healthy to be there to provide a quality number two. Because if he's not in the lineup, I don't know. That's going to be that's a tough thing to ask for Jason Tatum to take that all on his back.
I think he's up to the task. Like since he's been into the league, as a rookie, he definitely gave the Cavaliers, some great matchups. I mean, he dunked on LeBron James. Nobody can forget about that. And he's just been growing each and every year. So I think this is the task for him. I think he's ready for it. He's very young. He's very mature. And then he's the leader of that team. Even though you got Kemba Walker out there, he still is that leader of that young team.
Absolutely. And so, all right, you've got his choices right there. But before we head on out, my friend, it's been so great talking to you, and also Jennifer Cobb as well. Cannot thank her enough. And again, for all the stuff that she's doing, check it out today at teamgatewaytoacure.org. But before we head on out, Fago, I want to hear your thoughts on exactly where can people get a hold of you and what you're working on that you need to shout out people, either your great podcasts or your great videos, the stuff that you're doing on social media. what do you need to go ahead and get out there to the people right now on the Lakers Fast Break?
You can definitely reach me on Facebook, Fago Franklin III. You can reach me on Instagram, SuperJournalist87. You can reach me on LinkedIn, Fago Franklin III. You can even Google me, Fago Franklin III. All my links, all my videos will definitely pop up. I'm actually working on numerous things. I've been on like 3 podcasts just earlier today. Just being an analyst, talking about, WNBA topics, NBA topics, MLB topics, NASCARs. I'm a sports junkie in general. I'm also doing my own publication, New Stitch Media. So you can check me out at newstitchmedia.com. I'm still working with Pro Players Insiders with that publication. So proplayersinsiders.com. But yeah, normally you could just reach me on Facebook. Again, Fago W. Franklin III, as well as SuperJournalist87. So I look forward to actually seeing some of the new viewers come in and watching my work and watching my sports journey.
Absolutely. And we touched on the WNBA while we were on the video with you, with some really great hosts. And we had a great roundtable discussion on everything from the NFL to the WNBA, which is just opening up as well. And then the NBA is, just that great conversation. I truly was privileged to be a part of it. Fago, I cannot thank you enough for inviting me on that show. And again, I look forward to speaking to you again, not only on this show, but hopefully I can jump on another one at yours in the near future. Oh,
yeah, definitely. And I definitely appreciate you for having me on your show, my friend. I definitely look forward with talking junk throughout the entire preseason as well as postseason for all these different sports.
Absolutely. And I'll tell you what, you've got one of the most interesting social media platforms I have ever seen because of all the great places and all the great things that you've seen in the sports world. I've been checking it out. I mean, you cannot stop. When you're scrolling, you stop right there at Fago's site right there, because all the stuff that he's doing, all the great memories that he has and all the great places that he's been, you got to check out what he's doing today on social media. I just cannot thank you enough for being a part of it. And just thank you so much for being on the show today. And I'll tell you what, I'm looking forward to, again, talking a little smack back and forth, but again, all in good fun, all in good gestures, because you know what, you're such a great person out there as far as what you're covering. I truly value your work. And I look forward to speaking to you once again, right here at the Lakers Fast Break Podcast.